Hey, welcome back to this week's Momentum Tribe Live panel show. And today we have the management panel back on screen. Full house, people. Whoop, whoop. When was the last time we had 4 screens all filled up on our Momentum Tribe panel show? Whoop, whoop. So that's an accomplishment for this week. Check. And Michelle was like, yeah, that's the mountain right there. Check. Anyways, welcome back, everybody, to the Momentum Tribe Live weekly panel show. And today we have the management panel. And today's topic is how a connector becomes an influencer. I'm having goosebumps because whenever we talk about this connector influencer thing, it is always very personal. You know, everybody has their own personal style, but we have some missing ingredients. And I know Raj has picked this topic today, and he will lead the conversation. And you know, the key areas we'll be talking about is just really to help you do. Maybe you're a connector like me. I love people. That's the reason why I started my business, right? Yeah. But when you know you're a connector, you want to go into a higher, or to elevate to a higher threshold to an influencer. We may need some skill sets. We may need some ingredients to make it a little bit more spicier or a little spicier. So I'm gonna let just go around the room real quickly to have a quick 30 seconds introduction, and then we'll let Raj lead the conversation today. Go, Michelle. Go, Michelle.
Hey, everybody. I'm Michelle Demers, CEO and founder of coworkingclubs.com and creator of the Sustainable Success System, How to Move Mountains in 15 minutes per day or less.
Boom. Boom.
That's kind of hard to beat. That's great.
Straight to the point. Yay. Specific, clean. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. It's a pitch. No.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Janneke. I'm the owner of Online Com Academy. I create online courses about online strategy, social media, and project management. And I'm the creator of the Creative Achiever Method, a way to create ideas and check them in 90 days.
Boom. We're going to let Raj do his, and then we'll come back and circle around. Go ahead, Raj.
Okay. My name is Raj Stedla. I'm the founder of VRT Management Group. And one of those things which I'm fascinated about is transforming people and businesses. That is what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And the reason I love to do that is to maximize the value they want to achieve from their business or from the people. That's what my focus area.
I love that. Everybody's like energetic today. Hello. I know Janneke, she's like the future girl. She's already in dinner time, but she's going to bring us home today. But just to say hello to all of you, if you're brand new to our show right here, I'm Zef Zan, the creator and producer of the Momentum Tribe Live virtual live conference. And I also am a live video marketing strategist. But what that means is really I help you get your ideal clients to you. So let's stop the chase and get them to you. All right, let's get started, people. I just want to say a quick hello to everybody who's watching with us here live. Tish is here. Donna is here. Thank you, ladies, for watching. And please share this out because we all need a little bit of what we're going to talk today, which is, you know, if you're a connector and you want to elevate to become an influencer, like how the heck do you do that? Because there's so many key ingredients. But I think Raj is going to lead us into the most important ingredient of this conversation. So Raj, the stage is yours.
So basically, talking about connectors and influence, the best example that always comes is the US presidents, right? Good or bad, if you look at the historically of all the presidents,
right?
They have a vision for themselves. And that is the vision they start canvassing and communicating for the year, 2 years before they get elected. Then they have the second part of it is pragmatism. They're very, very pragmatic in life. And they go back and try to go back and build consensus. And the fourth one is all of the presidents who are successful, if you look at it, they have charisma. And the last but not the least would be the trustworthiness. If you look at those 5 skills of any successful president, those are the 5 qualities that come to the picture.
Not that we're trying to become presidents, but okay. But hey, who's to tell, right, Raj?
No, but Zef, to add to you, you are the president for your organization and whatever you're doing for your life. Yeah. So definitely there is there. It is only the sphere of influence.
Yeah.
I use that example more to go back and easy to relate to people, but we are all presidents. We are trying to create our own sphere of influence and make a difference in whatever way we want.
Very true. Very true. So the questions that we're answering today, and we're trying to get answered today, are what, Raj? Because I know you have questions lined up for us today.
Yes. So basically, if you go back and look at it, we communicate with a lot of people. That is the connection piece of it. But how are you taking it and going back and enhancing that into an influence in your day-to-day situations? That is one question I really wanted to go back and ask everybody to think. On an average,
answer first. Yannicka, do you want to do that? So the question is, how are you connecting with others that enhances your influence in every situation? Is that what we're asking, Raj?
Yes, that is exactly what we are asking for.
Okay.
Yannicka, do you want to the first round?
Sure. Thank you so much for the question, Raj. I don't know if I'm applying it to every situation in my life, but if I'm focusing on my business and on things that are really close to my heart that I want to share in my life to other people, and I want to connect with, then I always try to share valuable nuggets of information and add to them some details from my personal story to make it more vivid. Because if you're just passing on the knowledge or passing on the facts, then nobody will connect that to you unless you had like this wonderful conversation. But if it's a normal business conversation and you can add like one or two details from your own personal life or your professional life that is significant for you, then that will totally help you be more significant in your niche, and also be perceived as such by your audience.
I love that.
That's one thing that I find really valuable, because every time I hear something valuable, the nugget of content sticks, but the person doesn't. And I don't know if that's just me, but once someone chooses to share something personal with me that is connected to the valuable nugget, but it is about them, and it could be about me or someone else as well, then it will stick, and the person will stick.
Yes. I love that you're sharing that. And before we go to Michelle, let me just kind of like say hello to everybody who's here real quickly. And I know there's, sharing a lot going on right here, but I just want to kind of jump in and say something real quickly. As for me, what I found as far as connecting others and elevating to become an influencer is I take the time to communicate better, because sometimes we don't know what some other people's communication style is. So I take a little bit of time to figure out what their communication style is, because Michelle and I, we've talked about this in the past, and it's so funny because it's true until you study it. For me, I've told Michelle, and I think I've told some of my team members and the people that I work with, and sometimes I ask them ahead of time, like, how would you like me to communicate with you? And I think it's an important question, right? Because if you just think the way that, for me, I communicate, I love doing the video and the audio, because that's how my personality is. Because I ventilate, I like hyperventilate when I see text, and it's like overwhelming. And and for Michelle, it's totally the opposite, So I've had to learn how to, in order to roll in the space of connector to influencer, because you have to like elevate, right? I've had to figure out how to communicate with people better. And that means asking questions like, what is their communication style? Because sometimes people just, I don't like you to call me, just text me. And I'm like, okay, I got it. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't do text that much. I just want to call you. So that's, I think, one of examples from my perspective. Your take on this question, Michelle?
Sorry, I just had my mic muted for a second. Yeah, I think
all the buttons.
Yeah, well, just so if I was coughing a little bit, I wouldn't interrupt. So I think when you're moving from connector to influencer, you're taking a step into higher visibility. So you're putting yourself out there in a bigger way. You're putting out your message, your opinions, your values, what you stand for. And I love what Yoyanika said about, the sharing your story, because I think it's important to share your story so that people can relate to you and you have that credibility in what you're talking about. Because people, I think we're at a stage where there's so much information out there with social media, with YouTube, with these lives that, there's a lot of information, but who do we really want to be connecting with and engaging with and listening to? You really need to hone in on, your lane and your message, just like, again, Yoyanika was saying about niche, and also be a very good listener so that you can invite your audience into the conversation and give them a voice at the same time.
That's true. Let me quickly say a quick hello to Laura and Steve Cooper, who's just joining us right now on the live broadcast. Welcome, Laura. So Laura is one of our guest hosts for the upcoming conference. I'm so excited. And we're going to do a little broadcast today introducing some of our guest hosts today, too. Anyways, let me get back to Raj, because I know Raj has some nice sound bites for us today.
Now, if you go back and just hear to what all three of you have shared, some great information. And if I need to summarize that, each one of you have taken some extra effort in your communication.
Effort. What effort?
Yes. The second part of it is you have a lot of positive energy. That is where it helps with your influence. The third aspect, if you look at between three of you, the emotional boldness. You had the emotion piece of it.
Emotional boldness. Hashtag that, people. Emotional boldness. See, I tell you, we're going to get sound bites and nuggets today to drop the bombs. Emotional boldness. That's new for me. Boom.
Yes. And then the fourth piece I observed or heard is growing synergy. Basically, if you look at what Hanaka was talking about, is sharing your personal experiences, which builds up the synergy, which helps to enhance and take the connection to the influence level. I just want those 4 points are very critical when people go back and talk about influence and how you can take your communication to the next level.
Yes. So let me do a shout out to Tish. Tish, if you get all 4 of that, would you please help us put all the 4 points, including the emotional boldness? Apparently, I'm connecting most with that word. Hashtag that, people. So I think the next question, what we're going to talk about, Raj, is what?
So the next one is about whenever you take your communication, does it really require extra energy and effort to connect with others for influence?
For me, what do you think, Michelle? Let's get Michelle's take on this first. She's like, back to me already?
Yeah, well, for you, Zeph, no. For some of us, yes. Well, so I think,
Sorry.
There's all sorts of different personality types in the world, and I think for some of us who tend to be a little bit more introverted, it does take conscious intention to connect and put yourself out there. But I'm not sure, maybe I missed the context of your question. So if you were getting at if you were trying to make the point that, if we're out in the world anyway and having conversations, it doesn't necessarily require any more effort. It's just kind of how you shift how you are with people.
Or even the mindset, right?
Yeah, so I could see that side of it too. But I think, for someone like myself, I often was behind the scenes for clients building their businesses, and they were the face, they were the voice. It was their message. And now I'm stepping out and I'm the face, I'm the voice. And it is a different kind of position and effort and energy that you put out. You're breaking through. I'm sure all of us have fear at some point or other to put ourselves out there in a bigger way. And so I do think that, there is some effort and energy involved in doing that. But then you create it builds like a muscle where it gets easier and easier. And then it kind of becomes your way of being.
One thing Raj always has taught me, and I've learned this from him, he says, this is a simple question. Like it says, sometimes I'll say to him, this is common sense, isn't it, Raj? And he'll say to me, it is so common sense that it is not common. And the question is just about about, does it require extra energy and effort to connect with other people? And the question is pretty much a common sense question, because if you want to become, you're already a connector and you want to become an influencer, in my honest opinion and professional opinion, you have to take a little bit of time. Like, for instance, if Yoyana is going to be a potential client of mine, I'm going to go out of my way, even though it's 12 a.m., it's, some way I'm staying up to learn about her if my call with her is the first thing in the morning. So that's, I think, what we're talking about here today. So, right, shall we ask Yannicka what's her take on this? Does it require extra energy and effort to connect with others?
Yes.
Okay. Well, first of all, Zev, what you say is true, because from my firsthand experience with you, I know you actually do reply messages in the middle of the night. So she does.
She can affirm that and attest to that.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Yeah. So for me personally, I'm a little bit different. I don't know, but I'm pretty much used to sharing a part of who I am with other people. Maybe that's also because I shared a lot in my first book about how I became an orphan. So that's kind of a sensitive subject, but I'm so used to sharing that kind of information that I'm not really nervous about that kind of thing. And I don't have the feeling that I have to adjust my way of communicating with other people, because I'm basically as I am, as I always am. I do have some jitters from time to time in times of high work pressure. And then I just have to adjust to other people's communication styles. And sometimes I have to switch out, you have to pull out and for instance, wait an hour before I can make a certain phone call. It's so it sounds a bit vulnerable and a bit lame perhaps, but it is a way of channeling my energy in the right way. Because
I think it is not lame at all, Yannicka, and I think Raj can probably attest to this. I think in the way how we connect to people, right, and connect with other people, and I think when we're in that threshold of elevating to become an influencer, it's okay to be vulnerable. And I think the vulnerability is the power in each and every one of us. I'm having goosies, and Tisha's going to laugh at me because she's always hashtagging Zef goosies, because I know we're spot on if I hit the right note, because it's the truth. I think many of us, whether we're, we're already an influencer or we're on our way to becoming an influencer, one of the toughest decisions for us to make is like, oh my God, how open am I going to share my vulnerabilities? And sometimes we take a step back and we go like, I don't know how this will help other. Trust me, people, if you're going on a live broadcast, share it anyway, because you will never know how that will connect you to the other person. And suddenly you're the influencer of this person's life. In what shape or form? Because I've had, during my journey, have had to be vulnerable in my cancer journey. And I tell people, and I've had 3 people reach out to me and say, oh my God, you've really helped me with my own journey. So really, we don't know how our vulnerabilities can really help other people.
And also down the line.
Yeah. And mic drop. Are we spot on right here, Raj?
No, perfectly. I think one of the biggest theme is that self-awareness, wherever we are and being aware of it, that is going to be the one. And if I would just want to share 3 things about the thing which we can plan before the discussion with anybody. If we just take the time and say, do we care for this person or the team we are talking to? A simple question, just taking a couple of minutes. The second one is, can I really help the person or the group? And the third piece of it is, do I really trust these people or the person, if it is a group or an individual? Just being self-aware and taking those 3 questions, a few minutes to think about, would really help us to take our connection to the next level.
Oh, wow. That was like, mic drop. It's so true. So I'm going to I quickly typed into the Facebook live comments, and 3 things that Raj said, just take a little time here. Number 1, do we care about this person? Number 2, can we help this person? And number 3, can we trust? Ooh, Oh, Sam Goosey's right here. Those are really 3 questions I think that will really help us become, elevate us from becoming just a connector to becoming an influencer, because then we will make an impact in that person's life or people's life. I love that. So I think we have a few more minutes here, Raj. Our last question that we're asking today is?
The last question is, do you think influencing is a natural talent or it is a learnable skill?
Oh, that's a good thought-provoking question. Yannicka, do you want to take that first?
I think it's a really hard question. Let me think about that.
Wow, I've never really thought about it, huh?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. But I don't think I have a really clear answer on that. What I think that in a way, if you can tap into your own authenticity, like really easily, then it is natural. If what you say, like the combination with the value that you're sharing, and the person that you are, that basically determines whether or not people may perceive you as being an influencer, and their response to you defines that. Because if they don't, you know that you're not resonating. So I'm a bit like in between two poles in this. The first I just shared, and the other one is the knowledge and faith and knowing that I'm not dependent on other people's opinions. So yes, you need other people to perceive you as being an influencer, because you can only influence people if there are people, to influence.
There are people who want to actually listen to you. Hello,
exactly.
right?
So the value and who you are and the people, all those like side effects are really like essential.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think what's really important, and you grow into that as a person. I don't think that is like natural unless you your family has like ingrained that into your being, like when you grew up, for instance. For me, that was not the case. So for me, it's the learning to know and trust that you're not dependent on anyone's opinion.
But I also
and it makes you free to express yourself.
Sorry, but to what you're saying, and I think what I'm hearing also is you have to take a little bit of a time to get to know what is your authenticity level, because sometimes you feel authentic, but sometimes when you're around people, you start like, is that really me? And I think you have to take some time to actually figure that one out too. So let me just go quickly to Michelle to get her input. Go ahead, Yannicka.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to add something to that equation, because sometimes things can happen in your life that make you really vulnerable and make you doubt yourself, and that makes it even harder to show your vulnerability and with that your natural authenticity. For instance, if you have been in an abusive relationship. You may doubt who you are, and you may be picked at in your core talents. For instance, live streaming. I'm going to be really honest about this here now, and I haven't told it anyone before, and I'm not going to share it ever again.
It's confession.
I'm not ever going to tell it again. But in my recent history, there was someone who was actually really close to me and was picking on me for being different online and being like this mask and and I could not relate to that label at all, because I knew that I was myself, but it made me doubt myself, which made it harder for me to express myself freely. And I noticed that because I just went on live streams far less than I was used to. And I had to reclaim that feeling of, yes, this is my hobby, this is my business, this is who I am, and I'm going to use all my freedom and talent to express myself and my opinions and reclaim that position.
I love
and I did
that.
but that was not easy. So our feelings of being secure and our feelings of feeling free to express oneself may be tainted at some times, and you have to reclaim that.
I love that you shared that, and thank you for sharing that, because the point I'm going to share a little bit for all of you folks out there, you're probably thinking like, why are we sharing this? I'm going to tell you what Yoyanaka's story is. Well, we can make it into a case study, because what happened is, I'm having goosebumps, but what happened with...
I'm not going to share it with you.
What happened with you, as I listen to you share this story, is the fact that people, if you're watching this and you're probably asking, right, okay, what's this got to do with all the management thing? Think about this. If you're affected in your personal life, in your personal journey, that will actually affect your business and how you perform in your business.
Definitely.
How you serve. I'm having goosies. How you serve other people. Because if you're not who you are, then you cannot be in your best performance, and you cannot serve the other clients or your people or your tribe, the community. And if you have to travel the world like Raj, you're going to be a big mess. So, you know, I think that's a very important case study there, just sharing your story. So we're talking about we talked about vulnerabilities earlier. This is a great example of a case study. What do you think about that, Michelle? And I'd love to hear your input about this question.
Yeah. Well, getting back to, I think the original question was, is it a natural talent or something, or a skill you can learn? I actually think it's both. Because you do see, children can naturally settle into leadership roles. They just it's who they are. It's built into them. And some people now naturally gravitate to that. And others, I think, step into that later in life. Either sometimes they're kind of pushed a little bit, encouraged, and other times they kind of just, it's part of their personal evolution where they evolve and they're ready to step up and be that influencer person. So I think it can be both. I think the people with natural talent, it's easier for them, but it's not necessarily meaning that somebody else, where maybe it's not a natural talent to begin with, couldn't step into that and learn. Myself, I would guess you would say I'm a people pleaser type of person. And so one of the things that I find is, when you step into the role of influencer, there's going to be haters out there. There just are, They're not getting, not everyone's going to like you. Not every, and it might be nothing to do with you. It's just, the message, or, they might not like the scarf I'm wearing, you don't know what's going to trigger other people, and you have to be willing to be okay with that. And I think for some people, that's a muscle that you have to build, is being okay that, there's going to be people that speak out against me, disagree with me, take me to task, and they're just haters because they are. So getting comfortable in your own skin, regardless of what other people think, I also think is a piece of essential growth for somebody that is stepping into that role of being an influencer.
I love that answer.
Yes.
My drop. Let me just quickly, before I go to Raj here, real quickly, just want to say to all of you who's watching with us, watching the live broadcast right now on Facebook Live, or whether on YouTube Live, if you have any questions, if we can't get them during this broadcast, just drop the questions in the comments anyway, because we can still have a conversation with you post the show. And that's the beauty of streaming this live to the other platforms, social platforms. That being said, I just want to kind of go back to Raj, because it's you who asked this question. So what do you think about yourself, Raj? Do you feel that this is a natural thing for you, or that it's a learned process, or something that you've learned along the way?
No, I will go back 28 years ago when I landed in the US. This was so difficult for me. My first day in my first job after my master's in engineering, I thought I was going to be fired because of my communication skills and lack of connection skills.
Wow.
And now I travel across the globe.
Right.
So from my side, there are few gifted people who have the natural talent, who comes naturally. I would say maybe 5 or 7, 10% of the people. But for the other 90% of the people, it is a skill. Once we focus and we work on it, we can master that and it can become second nature to us. So that was a huge learning from my own personal life.
And that means for all of you who are watching, right, that it can be, achieved. And I love that we talked about your own experience. You shared your experience because I know. So I'm just going to bring, we have a few more minutes, but I just want to touch a little bit here on the topic of culture, right?
Yes.
For me and Raj, we probably came from a different culture, American culture, and Yannicka comes from a different culture. We have this mix of culture, and when we're around people of different cultures, we have to manage and learn how other people or other people from other cultures communication style. It's such a challenge, right? You're so right? You know what's I think for me at least, when I hang out with people of like-minded, like everyone on this broadcast, or even all of you watching out there or out there networking, I'm amongst like-minded people. There's a style in our communication style that, maybe elevates me from a connector to an elevator. But when I go back into that small, a community of people, I feel that communication style does not translate. And I've had to learn to balance and bounce back and forth. But at the end of the day, with what Yannicka mentioned earlier, is you have to find your authentic self. Because if you're not communicating as yourself and you're trying to mirror or be somebody else, that's the biggest challenge. And your clients and your customers will pick that out. I don't know. Maybe I am a natural. That's my natural talent. Or I must say certain things I've developed over the years. But what comes easy to me is just talking, right, and asking questions. Actually, asking questions is a learned skill for me. A learned communication skill. But what I've learned is that people tell me, and I pay attention to what people say. People come and tell me, and when I represent myself online, whether it's podcast or live video or just a static image on my website or any of the platforms, and they meet me in person, and they'll say to me like, "Oh my God, you're exactly that person like you represented yourself on your website." I'm like, really? And I never really paid attention to it until my interns from France and India told me like, "Yep." And I'm like, really? And that's a compliment. And I don't know for me if it's a natural, but I think certain things I have to say it along the way. But I think it's important to what Yannicka shared earlier is, you have to be your authentic self, because when you're not happy, the case study with her is that it affected her work. It affected her performance. And that's huge.
And one point,
and you can bounce back.
Yes,
you're right.
You can bounce back, and you can bounce back.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. But Zeph, to your point, I want to add one thing though. It becomes a natural talent when you are in your comfort zone or where you are. You don't need any other skills or anything when you are communicating your authentic self and what you're passionate about. But sometimes, like sales is not my number one thing. That is where it becomes a skill and I need to work.
Yes.
Coaching and mentoring is so natural. I don't need any other skill. I can go back and coach anybody at any given time.
Right.
So even that is the other element which we need to be aware of, because we can't be in our comfort zone 24/7. There are situations where we need to develop the skill set. I think, Michelle, you addressed that a little bit from how you support your clients and what you do with your customers. So even that difference has to be realized and being aware of, really help us from the connection side of it.
Can I add something to that?
Please.
Yes.
Okay. I was just thinking about what you were saying right now, just now, Raj, but also, I should say, the original topic of becoming an influencer, and there is this thing of choosing your niche, which is like a mantra in marketing and everything. But there's also the bold thing of crossing borders, of tapping into other disciplines, in tapping into other branches for using examples that may be more vivid than your own, your topics and your businesses and your example and your case studies that you're used to and that other people are used to. So you can actually use other disciplines and other branches to create more of a signature style of presenting the value nuggets that you want to share with other people. So it's still authentic and it's still very, very, very valuable, but choosing examples from, for instance, I don't know, entertainment or car production or software or something else as a blueprint to find metaphors to enhance what you're saying. That will also add to your personal signature and will also add to your status as being an influencer.
Another mic drop. All right, people, we're at the end of the show. I just want to do a quick shout out and read something that Tish Rosales mentioned in the comments here. She says, people will love you for who you are on the inside. You have to be your true you. I love that. And she says, wow, Raj, great points. And she says, I think this has been one of my favorite episodes. I like when it's a group of people versus two. I love that too. She says, hashtag comfort zone, hashtag authentic self. That being said, people, I just want to, before we go, just want to say thank you all for watching and thank all the speakers here who are on this panel because they really bring great nuggets. And in case if you miss our conversation, that's a replay button. Just replay, right? And if you're watching on replay, if you have questions, just drop your questions in the comments anyway, and we'll try to answer that question in the comments. And if you haven't gotten the pass to our virtual live conference on December 1st, this is just a taste of the deep dives. All three of them will be doing on December 1st. I'm having goosies. Oh, I've been having a lot of goosies since I am producing this conference. A lot of the broadcast has really become my food for the past few months, food for thoughts, thought-provoking ideas and concepts, and a lot of nuggets that I think in the new year will be implemented better. That being said, people, just go to MomentumTribe.LIVE and get your free pass, all right? And it's important if you're really looking to boost your business, all right, and magnify your momentum in the new year. I don't know what magnification of momentum looks for your end of the world, but just come and join us. Come join us. And if you can't sit through the whole session, there's always going to be replay. And you just go to MomentumTribe.LIVE and you will see the sessions already scheduled with your topics, and all three speakers will do really deep dive teaching on December 1st. All right, let's wrap this up. Last tip before we go. Any thoughts that Michelle wants to add to this?
Well, I had something on the tip of my tongue, and then I just lost it. Give me 1 second. I was thinking.
Juliana, go first.
You put me on the spot.
I have the same issue. Raj first.
Come back to me.
All right, yeah. Juliana could go first, then we'll have Raj wrap us up.
Okay, something really easy and practical because as a counter thing for what I just shared, I think you have to be willing to be selective of your audience. Like Michelle already said, there will always be haters. Cherish the haters because they define also what you don't want. So
they help you grow.
Yeah, exactly. So that also creates the opportunity for you to build your own content hub, your own expertise hub, and with people and blog posts, and it's a way to make a difference. And one last tip that I want to share is that you can use your trend watching and perhaps even trend prediction skills, because that defines the amount of attention that people are giving to you if you share something. If you sometimes predict something and it is happening, provided that you are able to do that, and not really like the woo-woo kind of thing, but trend watching, the things that in the tech sector, for instance, or in online communications, or the next social media thing or whatever. If you're in that kind of thing, then if you use that skill and you prove yourself to be that expert that definitely delivers every time, that'll totally help. So I don't know whether or not y'all are really handy in predicting skills, but you can develop those. You can actually, like, if you're trend watching and you can react to the new trends and you can add something to the equation, that's also really valuable. So you don't have to be like a witch, but you can,
Over my head going on right now, psh, like that. It's just like, just turn on.
React to current events.
Great point. Michelle, did you find what you want?
Yes. It tied back into the authentic piece. I think if you're coming from a place of true service to people, and it's about other people, not yourself. It's not about, me and, my ego and being out there and everybody looking at me. It's about how can I be of service? And, when you're first kind of stepping out, what I tell my clients is the analogy I use is you have to be willing to play to an empty room. Mm-hmm. Right? You can't be afraid to be putting your message out and not getting responses in the beginning.
Yep.
If you think about the big superstar actors and musicians and the people that play like the stadiums of 20,000 people, well, a lot of them started playing in a dive bar where there was one guy, watching and he was drunk. Maybe not even paying attention, but slumped over on the table, and you're playing in the room by yourself, but you love what you do and you keep getting out there as an influencer. If you believe in your message and being of service to people and you're willing to go through that uncomfortable period, until you get that momentum, and Zeph's word. I just want to encourage people to keep putting themselves out there and not letting any of that stop you.
Boom. All right, Raj, bring us home. How a connector becomes an influencer.
I just want to share two closing statements. Number one, every conversation, just take 30 seconds and say what you would like to accomplish. Just taking 30 seconds. And then go back to the 3 questions I was talking about and ask those things. And based on that, you can go back and put the energy that you require for the influence and the results you want. Because morning to evening, we have a lot of discussions. We don't need to influence every single discussion.
Pick and choose. You're right. And if you're wondering what those 3 questions were or are, do we care?
Yes.
See, I have notes here, people. 1, do we care? Can we help?
Yes.
And number 3 is
trust.
Do we trust? So, that being said, thank you all for watching the Momentum Tribe Live Management Panel's discussion today of how a connector becomes an influencer. And I know we all can use a lot of the sound bites from today's broadcast. And you know what? Please share this out. I know you know somebody in your circle of business network that can use some of the sound bites that we shared here today. Thank you, Yoyanaka. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Raj, for sharing your wisdom. And I'm so excited and looking forward for December 1st deep dives. Well, that's a good hashtag, December 1st deep dives. All the D's in there. Come join us, everybody. Get your free pass, and we will have replays available too at MomentumTribe.LIVE. Have a great one, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Help you magnify your momentum so that you can boost your business in the year 2018. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.